everybody, it's Kathy Champion and welcome back to my craft room. Today we are going to work with a suite that is called the Ornate Garden. And in this garden there's actually 3 sets of dies. I only have 2. The other one is on order, but it's actually the Ornate Borders. And I do have that on order, but it hasn't arrived yet. These are the 2 stamp sets, Ornate Thanks and Ornate Styles. One is a photopolymer and one is a cling stamp. I like both. I can't say I have a preference one over the other. I do love these, the cling stamps. I think they're so easy to work with. I love that little corner flourish. And look at that beautiful spray of flowers. Look at that little sunflower. You've got all these little flowers and you have this beautiful little just a little design that is so cute. And you also have the coordinating dies for that. There's the die for that. You have this little flower, and then these little frames are so cute for framing a sentiment. So we are going to work with all, or maybe just some of the elements in this suite. What I have also is the Ornate paper. This is called the Ornate Garden Specialty Designer Paper. I'm going to flip through this and just show you how beautiful it is. And while we're getting ready to flip through this, I also want to remind everyone that the new catalog launches on Wednesday. So I will put up a video Wednesday showing you all the beauties of our new catalog. And I'll also post a link where you can go and click on that link to get all of the, to download you a copy of that catalog. Now this is our papers, and I'm going to flip this one over since I've already pulled this sheet out. On the back side of this is this beautiful gold foil. Isn't that gorgeous? And you get 2 pages of each design, and they're double-sided. Look at that. Gorgeous. And I'm going to flip through these rather quickly. Look, another gold foil. You have one side that's a beautiful print, and then one side that's a gold foil. And I think it is so wonderful when you have papers that coordinate so well with each other. So these are just fun. I think they're so much fun. Look at that. That is precious. I love their designer paper. That one is gorgeous too. And this particular one coordinates very well with the Regal, classic Regal cardstock, which is in our regular colors. And I think in this package you get crushed curry. No, this is the crushed curry. I pulled out a crushed curry and an old olive that we're going to use to work with this. Plus we're going to use white. But look at these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful colors. You have the rich raspberry. You have the poppy parade, I think. I'd have to actually go back and check the shaded spruce. You get 2 sheets of that. I think that one is the cherry cobbler. That's the rich raspberry. These colors are just absolutely gorgeous, and I love working with beautiful colors. I think we all do. I'm going to slide this back down into the plastic. Another plus when you order Stampin' Up! Cardstock or designer series paper, you also get in your package, on the back side, you get this piece of chipboard. It is a lightweight chipboard, but it's wonderful. Don't throw those away. Save it, because when you need a piece of chipboard, this is chipboard that you've already gotten for free. Now, a lot of people would say, well, they're too expensive, and I pretty much address this every time I bring a project to you, because as I've told you so many times, I felt the same way about Stampin' Up! For so long, and then I tried the product and I realized why it was pricier. You get what you pay for. And the fact that your stamps come in a filing system, not only are your stamps here showing you what you've got. It's also on the edge, so if you put this in a shelf like this, you can look and see the name, what type of stamp set it is, and all of the stamps that are in it, which I think is fantastic. The other thing, your dies, they come in one of these packets like this, and I do put mine on magnetic sheets. I order these from Amazon, and they're nothing but vent covers. So if you go into Amazon and look for vent covers, you will find these magnetic sheets, and I buy those to put my dies on because I don't like them all loose in the thing. So that keeps my dies where when I pull them up like this, I can see at a glance exactly what I have, and I like that. I do that with every die that I get. But you also, I mean, you've got a nice heavy-duty plastic envelope that you would have to go out and buy this separate, and that would run into money. So when you look at what you pay for your dies and your stamps, you're also getting this. So when you get a storage system for your stamps and dies, as well as a good quality stamp and die, then you're definitely getting your money's worth with Stampin' Up. And the same thing with the cardstock, it is, and the designer paper, it is good quality. Now do know that most of the designer series paper is just that, it's paper. It is not a cardstock. So if you're going to use this, more than likely you need to glue it onto a piece of cardstock to make it sturdy enough to use, which that's what we're going to do with this in just a minute. The first thing I want to do is I want to, and I've already pre-cut my pieces, but I'm going to show you how I did my breakdown before I cut my actual pieces. In this, you have several different mechanisms, and I'm going to start at the bottom, and we're going to work our way up. You have a base that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, which is a standard A2 size card. This is not a card base, it's just a flat piece of cardstock. And then you have your mat for that, which is going to give you just a scant border around the edge, 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then you're going to have two pieces of 4 by 5 1/4. One of these you're just gonna use it as a placement for where you're gonna stamp your sentiment, and I already drew that out on there. So these are my templates, and I will keep this in an envelope, and I will mark it that this is the pop-up slider card, so that anytime I get ready to make this card again, I'll have all my pieces and I won't have to worry about it. This is my template for cutting this piece right here. And as you can see, this fits on here just like that. You have a 3/4 inch border here and here, and you literally cut out from here down across and back up to there. So this is not an actual piece. You make this one time, and I would say make this out of a good heavy cardstock, and so that it would last you, because you are going to be cutting around it. This piece I've actually cut and scored, so I have all of my measurements marked on here, exactly where I need to glue and everything. And then when you lay this on top of this piece and you push this up, because your slider piece is going to push this up, and this is what's going to make the pop-up part of your card. Let me get this right. Just like that. This is going to give us our stamping area right there. That's why I put stamp area, and I kind of drew it off because that will let me know that I can stamp anywhere in here, and it will be visible when the mechanism draws that up. This is going to be our slider piece, and it's actually going to glue to the back of this piece. So we're going to put adhesive right here, and we'll glue this to it, and then when this piece is pulled, it will actually pull up like that. And we will also have something that we can stamp right here. So that's the mechanism of our card. And you're also going to need 6 strips, let's see, 6 strips of cardstock that are cut 1/4 inch by 5. You need 4 like that, and 2 that are 1/4 inch by 4. And you will see these are going to go onto here. It's actually going to give us just a little raised up lip around this mechanism so that our little slider piece can slide freely. So that's all we need to make the card. Now I'm going to show you how I did all of this right now, because I've got all my pieces cut, so all we have to do is start putting this together. So here's my pieces, and there's my little strips that we're going to use in just a minute. Here is my slider piece. Here's my two pieces that we need to work with first. And this is my card base, and this is my mat. And I'm going to come back with some of this beautiful Ornate Garden paper, and we're going to decorate the white cardstock with that. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to need to do is take one of these pieces, and it doesn't matter, they're both cut the same. We need to lay it down on our work surface, and we're going to put this, center it in the middle. I just like to line up my my card on my mat here, and then I'm going to lay this up to the top, and I want it to be 3/4 of an inch on both sides. So I can look at my mat here, and there's 3/4 and there's 3/4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I know that that's on there straight, and it's just where I need it to be. So I'm going to take my pencil, and I am going to draw around this mechanism just like this, and do it lightly. Now I'm doing mine a little bit darker than I would if I was doing this just for myself, because I want y'all to be able to see it as well. And we can come back and take, oops, I just went completely out of line. Okay. We're going to come back and take that pencil mark off. And you know what? I should have only went, we're going to take some of this pencil mark off now because I went up too high. We don't want to go up that high. We want to leave that 1/4 inch. So really you only want to start tracing where your line is, and I did that wrong, y'all. So what you want to do is you want to start tracing right at this point, right here. And you might want to, on your template, put a little X there to remind you that that's where you're going to start your line. And I'm going to just re-emphasize that so I'll know. And like I said, we'll clean that all up after we get it cut. Now you can cut this in one of two ways. You can take this into your paper trimmer and cut it that way, or you can put it a ruler down and use your X-Acto knife or pen blades and cut it that way. I'm going to actually do mine with my trimmer, and I'm going to show you a trick that I learned. If you cut a 1/4 inch strip, and I don't know if this works on all trimmers, but it does work on this one, and lay it on your measurement mark right about here, and I'm going to bring it right there to that 0. And when you bring this down, you're now going to be able to see exactly where your measurements are. And let's see if we can do this and get this right. Now I'm going to bring that up to there, and you know what? I don't even think we need to do that because we've got, well, maybe we will. I'm going to bring this up to here. And when I bring this over, now I can see where my 3/4 inch is, because right here where that line is, you can see your measurements on that side of your ruler. So I can actually line this up right up with the 3/4 inch mark. And that is going to put my placement of my blade right at the top, and I'm going to cut down to 4 1/2. So right down to there. Now that should give me my perfect measurement that I need. Let's see. And it did. Then we can turn it around this way and do the same thing. Bring it over to 3/4 of an inch. Make sure we get our little mechanism or our little piece of paper back in so we can see. And you know, I'm going to try to figure out a way I can put this on here permanently, because I think this would be a great asset to the ruler, because that way we can actually see where we're needing to cut. and that is always a plus. So I am going to press that in, and I am going to go up to that 3/4 inch mark up here, and that's right there. And I'm going to lift up my arm, and now I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm going to line that up at the 3/4 inch. And I need to put this back in again because I do need to see. Yeah, I definitely want to figure out a way to get this on here. Something like this that would stay, because that is a wonderful trick. Alright, I'm going to go up to the 3/4 inch. And I'm going to sink my blade down, and I'm going to come down to 3 1/2. And that right there should give us pretty much just where we need to be. Now there was a little place here, so I'm just going to pull that up, and that works perfectly. Now I'm going to lay my little strip over here, and I am going to set this to the side just for a moment, and I'm going to grab my eraser, and I'm going to go ahead and erase these marks right now and get that cleaned up, because we don't need those marks there anymore. So just get those marks all out of there and clean that up. And you want to have a good eraser for that. I like to have one of these, and this is a cheap eraser, but it works really good. I think I picked this up at Walmart, and it works wonderful. And I also love, this is the Bic Velocity mechanical pencil with the .07 lead. It's a very nice soft lead. It cleans up really well, and I love that. Okay, so what we need to do now is score this piece. So if we look at our template, because I did write everything on my template, we're going to score at 3/4 inch on the closed end. The closed end is the end that's not cut. So I'm going to put this into my scoreboard, and I'm going to use the trimmer as my score. And I am going to bring this to 3/4 inch. Now what you want to be sure that you do is score, and I think I'm going to put this paper back in here, because again this is going to allow me to line this up where I need to. So we know that we're going to score from this point. So I'm going to close that down, and I'm going to come up to the 3 1/2. And I'm going to score up to 3/4. Just like that. Now I'm going to open it, and I am going to come down to 2 1/4, and I'm lining it up at 2 1/4, and I am going to score here up to there, and then I'm going to bring it down to 5/8. Oh, that's not working. That's not right. 4 inches. So bring it to 4 inches, and we're going to do the score again just on that cut piece. So we're going to bring it to 3 1/2. And 3 1/4, I'm sorry, 3 1/4 up to 3/4. Just like that. Now that will give us all of our, and I hope you can see that, but here is our fold line. So this one's going to go up, this one's going to come down, and this one's going to go up. So you're going to fold up, and then down, and then up. So your piece will look like this. Just like that. Okay, so now what we need to do is turn this piece over, just like this, and this is where our little strips are going to come in. We are going to glue these strips right along that outer edge, right there. Just center them up in the middle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some liquid glue, And what I want to do is I just want to do a tiny little bit of glue along here. And I'm staying as close to the edge as I can get it. And all I'm going to do is bring this to here. And I'm lining it up with the bottom. Just like that. And just press that down and give it a minute to adhere. And while that's adhering, we're going to take another piece of the longer strip and do the same thing. We're going to run our glue from here at the bottom all the way up to there. And just lay your strip down in it, just like so, lining it up to that edge. You want to try to get it lined to that edge as best you can. And now what we're going to do is we are going to run another piece across the bottom. And see, by putting that even flush at the top, it gives you just the right amount of room down here for this piece. So we're going to do a little bit of glue. And we're going to glue this down. Now this seems a little tedious, and it can be, but it's really not bad. Just make sure you get that flush up in there. Mash it down really good. And now we're going to do the same thing all over again. We're going to glue the other ones that are left on top of the ones that we just glued down. So what it's doing is just giving it a little bit of height. Not a lot, just barely a little bit. So let's take that piece and lay it down. Just like that, and we will come back over here and the other long one, which these are cut at 1/4 by 5 inches, which gives you the perfect amount that you need, and it still leaves you with that 1/4 inch at the bottom, so you can actually have room to put this one here in the bottom. So once you get that on, then you just glue that one down, and this part of your leg work is done. So we're going to let that dry. And of course I got glue on my fingers, so I am going to come over here and see if I can get a wet wipe and just clean off the glue off of my fingers, and maybe a little bit. I should have used my my little silicone craft mat, but I didn't. And of course I got glue on my work surface. I'm bad about doing that. I got the tools and I get in a hurry. I get excited about the process of making the card, and I totally forget to use my tools. That's bad. But it's okay. It is okay. So what I want to do now is I want to take this other piece and I want to line it up with this piece. And all I want to do now is just draw out the area that I can stamp in. And see, this piece is going to slide now just like that. Oops. Let's see if we can hold it together. Hold it down here at the bottom and slide that piece up. Hold it with your fingers and use that template to let you know exactly where you can stamp. Now I know when I take this off that I've got this area that I can stamp my message in. So once we stamp our message, we'll clean the marks up off of this as well. So let's go ahead and see what sentiments we want to use. And I think what I want to do is I want to use, I'm going to make this a thanks card or a thank you. And I think I'm just going to go with the thanks, and I have that loaded up on a block. And inside I want it to say, thanks, your kindness is so loved. I think that Well, you made my day. That would be another cute one. I also have one on the block that says ever so much. Thanks ever so much. How about ever so much for all you do? And that could be our inside message and thanks on the outside. I think that would be absolutely perfect. So I'm going to grab another stamp block. Let's see if I can find this one right here. And I think these will hold these sentiments because they're small. Ever so much. So what I'm going to do is grab the other sentiment off of here. Just like this. Let's see. It's almost impossible to see these unless you put them on a piece of paper. Okay, there it is, for all you do. I just wanted to make sure I was getting the right sentiment for the inside of this card. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line these up together right here on my grid lines on my mat. And once I get them to sit flat, and these are very, very sticky because they are fairly new stamps, which that's a good thing. Sticky is good when it comes to our photopolymer stamps because if you have trouble manipulating them, try using lay them on cardstock and then try using a pencil to line them up. Because the eraser on the pencil will let you move them without it sticking to them. Whereas your fingers will stick to them really bad. Okay, once you get them lined like that, then you can pick them up on your block, and I don't think that one's going to be quite big enough, so I'm just going to grab this one. Just like that. Now those are picked up and ready to go. So like I said, we know that this needs to be stamped right here. So I am going to decide which ink I want to use. And I am thinking, and I should have given this some thought before I started. I think I'm going to go with the Old Olive, because I think this is going to coordinate very well with the paper since we're using an Old Olive and the crushed curry. I think this color will be beautiful stamped inside. So that's what we're going to use. Alright, so just load this up with the ink. And now we're just going to center this right in the middle of this area that we marked off. I'm going to bring it up because I might want to do a flower in the corner. So I'm just letting that ink transfer to the paper. And that looks so pretty. It's very delicate and I like that. Okay. So I am going to think about a flower for the corner. Or maybe even one of these. Look at these flourishes. That flourish would be very cute in the corner. I wonder if that might be a little bit too big, but we can try it. That would be so cute because that will frame that off beautifully. And this is the beauty about these stamps. They are so delicate and so pretty. I think we could put one here and one up here. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to stamp that as well in that same ink, the Old Olive. So I'm going to lay these back inside of the stamp set so I don't lose them. And I'm going to go ahead and pick up this one. And let's go ahead and load the ink on this stamp. And we're going to come right to this corner and stamp. Oh, that's so pretty. And we're going to do the same thing up here. And just to frame that off just a little bit. Oh, that's so pretty. I love that. Alright, so now this is done. Let's lay this over to the side, and let's go ahead and work on getting our mechanism in. Now the mechanism is what's going to make this whole thing work. So we've already glued in our track pieces. I like to call these the tracks because it's going to allow that one piece that we cut for the slider to go up and down just like that. So we're going to lay that in, and we want to glue it right here to this little piece that's folded. This is the only place we want to put any glue. So I'm going to grab my glue, and I'm just going to put glue right here on this strip. And then we're just going to lay this down into the glue. I'm going to hold everything nice and straight. And I'm going to line this up here first, and then just let it come straight down from there and land right there in that glue. Now how easy is that? It doesn't get any easier than that. Now we do have one more thing that we need to do before we go any further. We need to hold this down, and we need to grab a circle punch, and I like to use the 3/4 inch. Maybe the 1 inch. I put my hand on the 1 inch, and I think it will work. You can use a 1 inch or a 3/4 inch, whichever one you have. Just use what you got. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to eyeball. Well, I'll tell you what you can do. If you want to, you can center it. We know that this is 4 inches. So 2 inches would be the center. So if you want to put a little tick mark right there in the center, then this will help you definitely get that in the middle. So now you've got a guideline to say, okay, does that look like it's in the middle? Yeah, that looks really good right there. So I am going to give it a punch, just like that. And now we have a little thumb place that will allow us to pull this up with. And that's going to work so beautifully. Okay, the next thing we want to do is the piece that we stamped on. We now need to glue this down to our card. So we are going to take some glue, and again we're going to run it right along this part of our card, and let's just take some glue and put it right here. And then we're just going to lay this piece right into the glue. Just like that. Press it down, press it down, press it down. And now when you pull that up, see how pretty that is? You see that mechanism right there. And yet this still goes down into our card like that. So pretty. Now I think what I want to do is I want to put a piece of my pattern paper right here. Or better yet, I'll tell you what, let's use the pattern paper to decorate the front. I think that would make it so pretty. And let's go ahead and see how this is going to look on our green and our curry, our old olive and our crushed curry. Just like this, and this is going to go down just like that. And I think what I'm going to need to do is put another little piece. So I'll tell you what, let's do. Let's use this piece. Let's cut out, using our punch, a little piece of cardstock. About like this. And I'll tell you why. I think I messed this up because I didn't quite get that up high enough. So that's okay. I'm going to show you that if that happens to you and you mess that mechanism up, it's not a problem because we can fix it. You know, in card making, we can always fix our little mishaps. So let's bring that up. And see, it's not coming up enough where we can grab that. So that we need to fix. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this behind here and I'm going to glue it right there in that middle, just to give myself a little handle to grab a hold of. And we're also going to put a hole in there with a piece of ribbon in it so that people will see that that does come out. Just like that. Okay. So what I want to do now is I'm going to grab my hole punch. And I'm going to use the smaller hole, and I am going to punch a hole right in the middle of that piece that I just put in, just like that. And this is going to give us a place for a piece of ribbon or twine to be there, so you actually have something to grab that with. This piece is just not wanting to fit down in there like it should, and that should go down with no problem. Just like that. And sometimes it takes a few times to pull that up and down before you get it where it will move easily. Again, I've cleaned up that pencil mark a little bit more. And I think we need to go inside and clean up the pencil mark in here as well. So let's go ahead and clean that up now that we know our ink is good and dry. The last thing you want to do is give a card with pencil marks on it. That wouldn't be very appealing to anyone. Okay. So now we know that we need to stamp up here. So this is where I'm going to stamp my thanks. So when they pull it up, it's going to say, "Thanks ever so much for all you do." So we're going to do this also in the old olive. So let's grab that out again. And let's ink that up. And then we're going to go right about here. Try to get it centered as best you can. And then just center it up and stamp. Just like that. And that's a nice bold thank you. Now we need to decide what we're going to decorate our front panel with. And I do think I'm going to put some Ornate Garden paper around this frame. I think if we cut us some 3/4 inch strips, maybe 1/2 inch, that way we can actually have a little white border around it, which I think would be really pretty. So let's do that. While this is drying, we'll lay that over there. And let's get that laid up there. Get my ink put away before I make a mess. And pin in the glue. And now we're going to grab our paper. And let's get our paper trimmer out. And I think what I want to do is I want to cut some strips about 1/2 inch. So I'll tell you what, let's just do it from this end. It'd be just as easy. And that would be 1/2 inch right there. And we know we need 5, we need 10 inches. So see how pretty that's going to decorate that? I love that. So we're going to do 5 inches. Make sure that's correct. Oh, it's 5 1/4. So let's do 5 inches, and that'll give us that tiny bit of border. So 5 inches is right there. And we need 2 of those. So there's 1. And 2. And now we need 1 to go across the bottom, and we need this one to come off this way. So this one needs to be a 1/2 inch. Yep. 1/2 inch. This will also help teach you cutting your paper in the right orientation, so which is always important to learn how to do. So let's cut this at 4. And now we have our pieces to glue down on our card. And then we can decide how we want to do the mechanism. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the mechanism back down. Just like that. Get it nice and flat. And I am going to go ahead and get these pieces glued on. Oh, I did that at 4, and I should have done it just a tiny bit less. So I'm just going to take my scissors. And I know this needs to be like 1/4 inch off. So I am going to decide which side I want to take it off of. And I'm just going to come in and eyeball it and take off about 1/4 inch. And then this is going to go down just like that. And then these are going to go and you know what, I didn't want those to go like that. Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to glue it down. We'll just glue this over top of it. That will still work. It works for me. So I'm going to grab some art glitter glue, and I am going to put that down like that. And I'm going to get it right in the middle, giving a nice little border all the way around. And then press it down. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. This is such a fun card to play with your cardstock with, because your decorations, the way you decorate this card can make it look so different from one card to another, which it truly makes this a very versatile card. So now this one, we are going to put that down just like that. That's going to look really pretty. And I'm going to bring that over right to that edge and let it meet up with the edge over here, and then bring it down just a hair and press it down. That's lining up these corners where it looks like it seamlessly goes all the way around, but it doesn't. We did cut that to make it fit. And like I said, I will have all of our measurements in the description, and probably as I put this card together as well. So there. So now we need to decide what we're going to do on the outside of the card. So now we need to decide, I want to play up, let's see, let me lay this on my card base. And I think since we've got the curry, the crushed curry behind here, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and adhere this mat to this piece. And I am just going to use some liquid glue to do that. And I'm reaching for the art glitter glue. And let's lay this down just like that. Nice little even border of that old olive showing around the outside edges. And you know what? I didn't get that even. It's okay. Pull it up and try again. There. That looks much better. Much more even. And I am going to take a bone folder and press that down. And then this will be ready to go on here. And see, by putting that piece back there, it served two purposes. We had a place to stamp, and we also have a place to be able to glue this piece down. Just like that. Isn't that beautiful? I really love those colors. And you've got that little bit of turquoise playing back there in the background, where you could very easily use the turquoise or the old olive. I think I'm going to go with the crushed curry because I'm really liking the way that looks on the outside. And I want to use one of my border dies. And I think I'm going to use the Ornate frames. And I just got to decide which one I want. Which one of my little framelits do I want to use? And I am thinking, would that be too, oh no, that would be gorgeous. Okay. And this one I believe will fit inside this one. Yep, just like that. So what I'm going to do is I am going to cut this out of the old olive, and I think I'm going to do this out of the curry. Actually, I think I'm going to do this out of the curry. I'm indecisive, y'all. I'm going to cut this frame out of the old olive, and then I'm going to cut this one out of the crushed curry. And I'll tell you why I'm going to do it that way. I am going to do it that way because I want to stamp on this crushed curry. So by choosing this one, it makes it really, really good for me to be able to have one that's darker and one that's lighter. And of course the lighter one is always your best option for your stamping. So you always kind of keep that, you know, in the back of your mind when you are choosing your cardstock and what you want to stamp on. You always do much better, unless you're going to heat emboss, and then you can always heat emboss in a white or some other color. But isn't that beautiful? I'm really loving the way this turned out. I wish I'd done that mechanism out of a heavier piece of cardstock though. But that's okay. This is working. Alright, so I'm going to grab my die machine and cut these pieces, and I'll be right back. Alright, we are back, and as you can see, I got my ornate frame cut. And I also cut this little frame out of the crushed curry, and I am going to stamp my little front message. And this is all about being thankful. So as you know, we have that beautiful thank you message when we pull this card up. It says, "Thanks ever so much for all you do." And then on the front of this, I thought, "Thank you for being my friend." And that's going to get stamped right there on that crushed curry, and I think I'm going to do that in black because I really want that to pop. So I also, while I was away, I decided that I wanted to put a piece of pattern paper right here to cover this piece, because this is going to cover down here, but it just looked like it needed a little something there. So I cut this piece at 2 1/4 by 1 1/4. So that little piece needs to be cut just to live up there in that little place. And what I did is I measured my area that's scored up there, and then I just cut this 1/4 inch smaller, just to give me that little border all around. And I like that, and I want it to go down like this. And again, centering it up, getting it nice and straight, and then press it down. And now I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment. And I am going to grab my VersaFine, because I do love that for my sentiments. My all-time favorite ink for sentiments. And I got this, "Thank you for being my friend," from the stamp set, Here's a Card. There are so many wonderful sentiments in this one. "You made my day," "Happy birthday," I made you a card because you're worth it," "Thanks," mostly because numbers are hard, and that goes with another one on here. "On that thing you did, I'd give you a standing ovation, but here's a card instead." "I can't begin to count all the times we've laughed together," mostly because numbers are hard. That's so cute. I love that one with that. It's "Congratulations, hello there, I'm here if you need me." It's just so many. And then this one is "It's all messy, the hair, the house, the heart, life." I love that. So many of these are just such cute sentiments to use on a card. So it is one of my favorite stamp sets for sentiments because they are funny, punny, and just always right for the occasion. So I'm going to light this up with some VersaFine black onyx, and then I'm going to get this down here where I can hopefully get this even. And stamp. Oh, that's so pretty. Okay. I'm just wiping off my stamp. I like to clean my stamps as I use them. It's one of my little pet peeves. I guess that's what you could call that. Now I'm just going to put some glue on the back of this, and I'm going to drop it into this framelit, just like that. Isn't that pretty? Now we can pop this up on some dimensionals if you like. Let's see how that's going to look when we pull it. I can't wait to get my twine in there, so my ribbon, so we can see what we're doing. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that right there because I really want that to live up. And I don't think it needs dimension. I think it will look fine just glued straight down, so that's what we're going to do. This card is already saying so much that I don't think it needs too much more to make a statement. And I think that's going to look good just like that. Oh yeah, I love it. I think it's so pretty. Now all we need to do is put this on here. I do think I want a strip of this same cardstock here and maybe a little piece right here. It just looks like it needs it. So let me move some of my stuff. I had way too much stuff on my desk when I started tonight, and I still have too much stuff on my desk. This little piece right here is going to fit beautifully right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my pencil, and I'm going to make a little mark right there, and I'm just going to cut this straight off with my scissors. And find my little mark. Okay. Well, let's try that again. Okay, there's my mark. You barely can see it. I can see it when I put it down on here. Let's make that a little bit more prominent. Just like that. And I'm going to cut just inside that mark. And then we're going to put some glue on this. And we're going to lay this down right across there. Making sure we get it nice and even. And then I'm going to do another piece right about here. And the same thing, I just want to make sure that I'm getting it just on that little mechanism. And that can come back right there. So see, I'm not even going to cut or measure, I'm just basically eyeballing and just cutting it off. Yeah, that'll work. So I'm going to take and put glue down. Just like that. And then this piece is going to go down like that. And now we need to put us a piece of ribbon or twine in here. So let me go and grab a piece of ribbon. Trying to decide what would look better on this. I love the way this is looking. I think it's so beautiful. I love that olive green. This crushed curry just looks so pretty with this paper. Okay, let me grab some twine or string or ribbon and I'll be right back. Okay, I couldn't find anything that I thought matched up good with this, and I did not get the ribbon that went with this suite. Now I wish I had of. But I am going to use this white, and this is the crinkled seam binding ribbon. This might have been discontinued. I'm not sure, I'll have to go look. But I do know that there's some ribbons that go with this suite, so if you are interested in making a card like this, you can very well get the ribbon that goes with it. Now I'm going to use this little ribbon pull that I have, and I'm going to feed that through, and feed it through there, and then pull it back through, just like that. And then I want to tie this in a little knot, but I think I'm going to cut off just a tiny bit. And I am going to tie this somewhat in a square knot if I can. And then I'm going to tie it one more time. And that's what I wanted. I just wanted a little something up there that will hold and give us just ever so slightly a pull on here. So I'm going to bring this up. Let me put that little tool back over here out of my way. And I'm going to pull these up about like that, and I'm going to cut them off at an angle. Like that. And now we're going to push this down. And we're going to glue this to our back. Now we want to get this centered on here, just so a little bit of that crushed curry is peeking out all the way around. Now if you might say, okay, we don't have a place to put a message. We're going to cut a piece of Whisper White cardstock and glue on the back here, and then you can write your own personal message to the person that you send this to. What a special little card that is, and I think anybody would be thrilled to get this. I love the way the mechanism works. I love the colors. I think that they are just absolutely lovely. And if you wanted to, you could add a couple of little gems. Let's see what I have over here. I've got some gold sequins. I think those would be cute. Now, I think these came in one of my paper pumpkin kits, and I am subscribed to Paper Pumpkin. It is a once-a-month card kit or project kit. It's not always cards. Sometimes you get some different little elements, things to make. But it is all so well worth the money because you will get sequins, you will get an ink pad, sometimes you'll get a stamp set, you get paper, you get everything you need to create the projects for that month's kit. So if you've been thinking about signing up for Paper Pumpkin, now would be a wonderful time to do that. If you sign up before June 10th, you will be eligible for the June kit, which is always nice. So if you're interested, I'll put the link for the Paper Pumpkin in the description below. So if you are interested in receiving that, you know, you're not under any obligation. You can try it for a month. If you don't like it, then you can just unsubscribe. It's that simple. So you might want to give it a try. Sometimes you get some dimensions, you get some sticky tape. You just never know because it is a surprise. But you know, I love those surprises. Don't you love to get a surprise in the mail? It's like Happy Mail once a month. Okay, I think that's an overkill, but I love it. I'm not too sure that I wouldn't put a couple right up here at the top. Look right here. We can dress this top up and so that won't look quite so naked. I love these sequins, and these are Stampin' Up! Sequins, and they have a really nice amount of adhesive on the back, so you don't even have to worry about glue or anything. That's one thing with Stampin' Up! They think of everything for you, so it makes your card making, your paper crafting just so easy and so much fun. Okay, there we go. And there's that wonderful little card with that little pop-up slider. Isn't that fun? I hope that you all have enjoyed your time with me making this card tonight. And if you do like it, now this will go up tomorrow, which will be Tuesday, June the 2nd. And like I said, everybody get ready because that new catalog's coming out and I can't wait. They have got some of the most beautiful stuff in that catalog, and I have showed y'all some of it. We were allowed to pre-order. One of my orders was kind of on back order, so it's supposed to be here tomorrow, and I'm hoping to be able to have some of that stuff out to show you when we do the catalog premiere, and I will do that for you on Wednesday. Can't wait. So if you like this card, please give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. It means so much. And you know, positive reinforcement is always good for all of us. I love the way this card came together. I love, love, love this paper. I think it's so pretty. And again, like I said, you can put a piece of white cardstock back here to write your personal message, and this card is ready to go. It will fit into an A2 size envelope. It's a nice substantial card. It has a good feel to it. So thank you so much for tuning in with me and watching the process of me build this card and make it. You will want to build that template for yourself, and it is so easy to do. I may even do a tutorial on how to make the template for this card. But if you follow through with the pieces, you can very easily build the template. Stick it in a little Ziplock bag and stick it in with your crafting supplies or wherever you keep your templates. And then you can make this card anytime you want, very easily. And how you decorate the front is totally up to you. I've seen some people decorate the entire front of it where it is a full scene. And I will be making some more of these, and we will decorate them in different ways as, you know, as time goes on. Thank you again for tuning in. God bless you and keep you. Show kindness to someone today. Let someone know that they mean the world to you. It may be just what they need to carry them through another day, because none of us know what other people are going through. And as I always say in closing, let everything you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. He is so worthy. He is so, so worthy. And until we craft again, God bless and keep you. Bye-bye.